Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Robin.
How are you?
So good. It's been just a great couple of days.
It has been. Honestly, I think 2020 has been one of my best years.
Really.
It's been
I
crazy.
feel like a lot of people it's been their best year, but they don't want to admit it.
I know.
I think it's easy to get in the negative mindset, but I'm like, I think your best year probably is happening this year. Most people it's torn down a lot of just the the way that people live their lives.
I think so too. We're going to talk more about New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
We have a super exciting episode today. We have not only our main guest, Brenna Oberg, but we also have some previous guests giving us what they've done since their last interview in New Year's resolutions.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to hear from them. I know our two.
And Ashley and I have talked about our New Year's resolutions, and we both have a healthy lifestyle resolution, which is why Brenna is so amazing to have on our podcast. Brenna is a registered dietitian, and I do have to say, when I first followed her on Instagram, it was brennaoberg.rd, and I thought, Brenna Oberg Road? Like, what is that? And then I thought, oh my gosh, Robin, get it together. It's registered dietitian. So welcome, Brenna, to our podcast.
Hi, Brenna.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
We are really excited to hear about New Year's resolutions, what you do for yourself, what you do for your clients, things that have worked in the past, things that haven't worked in the past. So we are thrilled to have you.
Awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
Healthy goals is something that Ashley and I have been working on, and we also want to go into 2021 with some New Year's resolutions, which is why having Brenna Oberg on to tell us whether we were on the right path or on the wrong path, or maybe just be open-minded to think about other suggestions. Welcome to the podcast, Brenna.
Hello. Awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
Why don't you fill us in on the good, the bad, and the ugly?
All right, let's get started. So New Year's resolutions, it's kind of a funny term to me because there is nothing about your life that will suddenly change once the new year comes around, right?
Yeah.
Harsh.
So true. No, we need it. Harsh truth. Bring it.
I still do appreciate new beginnings and setting goals, but why not start right now? Why wait until the new year to start when we can start today? So, all right, so let's just talk about New Year's resolutions. They get a lot of flack, and to be honest, it's not without reason. Some surveys show that more than 8% of people actually follow through with the resolutions that they set for themselves in January. And maybe it's not that the resolutions don't work. Maybe it's because we're just not working them the right way. Some articles will tell you to just set SMART goals, which SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals, not vague resolutions. This is solid advice, but there's so much more to this process to make sure that you're actually following through with your actions day in and day out, until you arrive at December 31st, 2021 with an awesome track record to your name. So let's talk a little bit more about this. My main recommendation when it comes to New Year's resolutions or just goals in general is to know your values. Your values are what is important to you in life and what you want your life to be about. So once you know your values, you can set goals and take action that is in alignment with those values, really giving those actions meaning, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I think Ashley and I do that. We've done all the tests that are out there pretty much, but I do think that Ashley, you and I have a really good ground set of values that you have and I have. So I think we're on track with you, Brenna.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. If you don't have a good foundation of knowing what you want, then how would you ever expect to, you have to know you.
Right.
And a lot of people don't. And I hope that 2020, at least, even though start whenever kind of thing. But hopefully 2020 has given some people time to reflect on what those values are, because we have a lot of time. So
I love that.
I hope people should be doing that.
And a lot of times we set goals with such shallow roots, and that's why nothing ever gets accomplished.
I had no idea about the 8%. Did you know that, Robin?
I didn't know literally the 8%, but I do know the gym is packed on January, whatever that Monday is typically, or the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. And then by March, you're back at your normal status quo with the gym is back to what it normally is. And you think all these people just bought a membership for a year, typically a year or 2-year membership. Not sure, because here in Wisconsin, it's still super cold and you are not typically going out and working out unless you're doing 75 hard. You're not going out and doing any types of workout. So I buy it.
Yes, I think it's so important. So I just wanted to give a quick example. Let's say you set a goal to exercise 3 times a week. You might join a gym, like you said, Robin. You might block off some time in your schedule to exercise, but you don't really spend any time digging into why this goal is important to you. And maybe beyond the fact that you want to work out to lose weight, let's say. So when your alarm goes off at 6 a.m. the next morning, it's so easy for you to just hit snooze and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. One workout doesn't really matter. But instead, if you tied this goal to a value of, let's say, freedom, right when your alarm goes off, because you made that connection to freedom, and you know that right now you don't feel very free in your body, maybe you're achy and stiff and you're uncomfortable mentally and physically, when that alarm goes off, your mind goes right to that value of freedom because you've made that connection. And it's really easy to choose to show up for yourself in that moment. You were able to think of the bigger picture, exercising is more than just burning calories, more than just losing weight. It's about feeling free in your body.
I never thought about it that way. That's like, you've got me pondering, like, what is my value? Because I feel like I know what it is, but I don't think I've actually, I feel like I want to write it down.
Well, I just wrote down. People that know me know I take vicious notes. I hadn't thought of it. When you were talking about that, Brenna, I did 75 hard. Well, I attempted it the first time, failed because I forgot a selfie. And then the second time I did it. So you said when your alarm goes off, ours goes off at 5, but whatever time it is, I would get out of bed. Now the weather was decent here in Wisconsin. I had a plan. And my why was because I wanted to accomplish this goal. It didn't have anything to do with calories. It didn't have anything to do with the scale. It was a mental discipline program. And I just wrote down, choose to show up for yourself. That is amazingly powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
Choose to show up for yourself. I have goosebumps.
I do too.
That's so exciting. Oh, that's so cool. I'm excited to hear what other people's values are. I've got to brainstorm mine now.
Yeah, I think values are important. And with my clients that I work with right now, I always encourage them to come up with their 4 core values and then set all of their goals based on those values so that their goals have meaning. And it's been so helpful to all of them.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. It's like, yeah, you're a dietitian, but at the same time, it's like, we're learning how to set goals in general, which is great.
I know.
We didn't expect that.
I love it. So my tip number 2 is focus on action or behavior goals each month that will service your values. Too often our focus is on outcome-based goals, not behavior goals. So for example, if you set an outcome goal to lose 15 pounds by the end of 2021, there are so many factors at play that make it so you don't have 100% control over that goal and reaching that outcome. And I always say this, weight loss is not a behavior. You can definitely have an outcome in mind. Like maybe you do want to lose 15 pounds. You can kind of have that in the back of your mind. But I always recommend setting behavior goals that will actually get you there.
What would be an example?
Perfect. Have one right here.
Yay!
So maybe, you know, if you want to lose that 15 pounds, maybe you plan your meals ahead of time on Sunday. Maybe you walk during your phone call meetings. Maybe you implement a night routine 5 out of 7 nights of the week to secure better sleep, because sleep is very important in weight management.
We're just talking about this. So
Yeah.
cool.
And whatever it is, for every achievement or outcome goal that you have behavior goals to back it up, to get you there.
Mm-hmm. But so I read a book the other day. You might have read this before, Brenna, too. Have you read Atomic Habits?
No, but it's on my Christmas list this year.
Oh, it's so good. You'll read it if you like reading. It's a longer book, but I think I read it in 2 days because it was that good. But it goes right in hand with that, because he talks about, you know, if you don't have good habits, you'll never reach what you're trying to do, because it's the little things that create the person that you are. And if you have good base habits, then the goal just comes, you know? So I think you'll definitely love it and use it in your everyday practice. But yeah, it's so cool that you're saying that, because I read Atomic Habits just thinking about just like motivation in general, but I didn't think about applying it to nutrition. So that's really cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that. I'm so excited to read the book. I've heard amazing things about it, and it definitely fits me and my practice.
Yeah, you'll love it. Great book.
All right, my tip number 3 is recommit to these goals every day.
Okay.
Make those promises and keep those promises that you make to yourself.
Almost like an affirmation.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I love affirmations. I write one out every single morning. I make it part of my routine to start my day in a positive way.
Yeah. Do you, I think a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people might struggle with tip number 3. Do you have any suggestions? Because I think it's easy sometimes, you know, a lot of people for New Year's, or just in general, when they have a goal, they'll do well for 5 days and then slip on the 6th day or something. How do you suggest when you have those moments of weakness, when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it? Do you have any suggestions on how to overcome that?
I always say, go back to your why. What is your why? Why are you doing it in the first place? Mm-hmm. Refocus on that. And then also you have to have that little bit of self-discipline, right? Like you have to, if you want it, you will make time for it. You will do it. You will find any way to make it happen. And so that's what I always say, like find that little self-discipline in yourself to do it and to recommit and refocus your attention.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a really good tip, because I think a lot of people backslide, and that's what we were talking about, you know, with the gym. It's a lot of people will go gung ho, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're like, they're saying the same thing over and over, but it's easy sometimes to backslide. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for that tip.
Of course.
Can you give us an example of one? I'm still on what Ashley is saying about it might be hard for some people to every day come up with a new one. Is it something similar to a gratitude journal? There's a group of us that are doing monthly exercise, and everybody gets to pick, we rotate, everybody gets to pick their exercises. And the one that we're doing this month chose a gratitude. So pick 2 things that you're grateful for every day. I don't have a problem with it, because I had practiced it back in the day, and now I'm bringing it back into my daily routine as much as possible. But just like Ashley said, is it like you're grateful for something, or what is the affirmation? I'm not clear on what you could do.
For affirmations, I just go on Pinterest. To be honest, I go on Pinterest and just kind of look for different ones that align with my life, and maybe some that I'm working towards, working on. That's what I do. I have this list that I print out and just kind of pick and choose different ones from there, depending on what my goal is for the month, or like really what my focus is on at that time.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I keep a journal of my affirmations too, Robin. Like I'll just think of them randomly. I keep them in that notebook I was telling you about. But sometimes I'll just think of one when I'm driving and I'm like, this is what I want. This is something that I want to strive for. And then I write it down, and then my list keeps getting longer and longer. And then I try to review them like once a month. And like some of them are just as much as like, I will make someone smile today, or like I want to shine positivity to someone, or like I want people to feel happy when they're around me, or like and some of it's about me, and other times it's like, I want to feel healthy, or I am, what are they supposed to be, like I am statements, so like
Yeah.
I am happy and healthy, or something, like something simple.
And then that's actually a great idea. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do keep track of them in my journal as well. I journal every morning just to start my morning in a positive way. But yes, I do that. I write out my line or my affirmation, whatever it might be, and then I just keep repeating it to myself all day.
Mm-hmm. I need to do that. I need to start doing a daily affirmation, because sometimes I do. I mean, I write them down all the time, but I don't review them as much as I should. But I think I'm going to start implementing that this year, or this tomorrow, because that is
Tomorrow.
start today. Where it's like, yeah, I'm just going to go into every day, because I like to think that every day I go into it with a specific goal. But I think intention is really important. I'm sure you might touch on that, but like, I think if you intend, the more intention you put into something, the stronger you are at probably hitting that goal. I need to be more intentional, I think, about my mornings, I think.
Yes, and even thinking with intention too.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
True. Yeah.
All right, my tip number 4. Be sure to create a system for checking in and evaluating your progress. In other words, you should create a relationship with your goals. So your goals are not crockpot chili. You can't just set them and forget about them and expect results. You have to participate in the relationship, and you really need to develop processes for the day-to-day doing of your goals. So let's say your goal is to plan meals for the week ahead of time on Sunday. What processes need to be in place to make it happen? Maybe you need to block off time in your schedule. Maybe you need to buy a new cookbook to get some ideas, or look on Pinterest for some ideas. What do you need to do to ensure that this goal is met, and that you're planning meals of the week on Sunday happens? What do you need to do?
So really pre-planning.
Pretty much, yes.
Ashley and I do a lot of meal prep. Now, I will admit I haven't in a while, but typically with meal prepping, that you need the cutting board and the knife, and you need containers. And so I do pre-plan and get everything ready to go. So the meal prepping is a lot quicker than what it ever used to be. What do you do, Ashley?
I do the same thing. So I've started eating pretty healthy this year, and I just so here's something that I when you were talking about that, Brenna and Robin, and you kind of sparked this, Robin, with the cutting board stuff, is like, I find that the less barriers of entry you have, the more often you will do the goal. And so it's like, there's two kind of parts to that. Like, I don't keep bad food around specifically, because if it's there, I'll eat it. But then also, like, if you don't have the right stuff and there's more steps to do it, like the pre-planning your meals and like cooking it ahead of time and just sticking it in the fridge makes it so it's super easy and right there. It's like chips are right there. Yes, you could eat them, but if you pre-make your meals and you have all of them set up, it's easy to also grab and eat. And it's like, you don't have to cook for the rest of it. Because I find that if I don't already have pre-made the meals, it's so easy to grab something quick. And so like the least barrier of entry to get me to eat the good food is like helpful to me. So that's why I try to pre-make everything. I make a lot of my food, and I get really healthy snacks, because like an apple, even just like having an apple, it's a super easy thing, and it's less barriers to get to than like making a meal, and making sure the meals that I'm making ahead of time are really healthy. I don't know if that answers your question. But
I think those are all really great tips. I always tell my clients too, like, if you have to buy the rotisserie chicken, buy the rotisserie chicken. If that's going to make it a little bit easier for you, or if you have to buy the pre-cut up veggies, the pre-cut peppers and the pre-cut fruits, that's going to be more convenient for you, do it. By all means, just do it. do it.
Yeah, I think people try to sometimes maybe overcomplicate that. Do you see that? It's like people think that when you have to eat healthy, you have to follow all these meals like on Pinterest. And while they're great meals, but it's like it doesn't have to be like there are ways to make food really healthy and tasty that don't require as many steps. Like it doesn't have to be overwhelming, I don't think, for most people. Because I try to eat most of my veggies like raw. Not I don't eat them raw, but I try to get them like fresh. But then there are times where I just keep a bunch frozen because there's times where it's like I want to eat healthy, but I don't have time to sit there and prep it. I just want to stick it in the microwave and microwave it. And so it's like that gives me it's just easier.
So my tip number 5, and just kind of like something that I think needs to be said. The goal of goals is not to be perfect. And I think it's important to recognize and determine like what self-compassion looks like for you in the event you miss the mark. So when things don't go as planned, because they won't go as planned occasionally, you know, here and there, how will you offer yourself kindness and understanding instead of judgment? Because when there's judgment involved, that results in you giving up and it's not helping you move forward in your goals, if that makes sense. So how can you offer yourself self-compassion when you miss the mark and you aren't able to meet a goal, or you didn't meet the goal for the month?
I listened to another podcast. I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I listened to another podcast that my therapist had suggested. They talked about that, about what happens in your body when you feel the sensation of shame or judgment or all of that. And it's like, we've all felt even if you're a kid, you felt what judgment feels like. And it's like, it's not a good feeling. And then, you end up taking on bad habits because of it. So I'm glad you bring that up. That makes a lot of sense. Because I think a lot of people get so mad at themselves. I'm me included. I've done that 100 times. But I've gotten better about it. Robin, what about you?
I really have to think about that because I don't think I'm very hard on myself. I think I just
for the selfie.
What's that?
The selfie.
Yeah, I just am.
But even then, you're fine.
Yeah. I do think, yes, you're right. When I missed my selfie on 75 hard, I was really disappointed in myself, but I knew I was going to restart it. And so I replanned what I was going to do. And although I'm certainly not perfect, certainly don't hit my goals all the time, but I don't think I beat myself up about it. I'll just like, oh, well, here we go. Here's Robin again. We're just going to try it again. And I just keep trying over and over again until I do get it. And I will typically always reach my goal, but weight loss is a hard one. And I have changed also with trading psychology, trading the stock market. I'm really focusing the past few months on the process and not what the outcome is. Kind of like 75 hard for me was focusing on the mental discipline, and don't worry about, did you lose any weight? Because it's not a weight loss competition. It's focus on the process. So I really don't think I'm that hard on myself. I just regroup. What did I do wrong? So, self-reflection. What were the mistakes that I made? What were my barriers? How did I not get there? And how am I going to do it better next time so I can reach my goal? I think I'm a little easier on myself.
That's perfect. That is very well said. That's exactly, Robin, you fully align with my recommendations.
Awesome.
You're
always on top of it, Robin.
It's taken me 51 years to get here.
I love it. All right, my tip number 6 is refresh each month with new goals based on your highest priority values at the time. So you can set new goals each month, and once you meet the goals that you set for the month, how can you improve yourself based on the goals that you already met? So refresh every month. Take a look at your values again. Which ones are your highest priority that month, and then set new goals based on those values.
That's an interesting concept I've never heard before. And your month could start on the 6th. It could start on the 30th. It could start on the 7th. It doesn't matter. You're just saying in general, whenever you're going to call your month, it doesn't have to be on a Sunday or a Monday or the 1st.
Exactly.
I think too many of us get hooked up on, okay, well, Monday's the start of the week, or if you're in payroll or human resources, Sunday's the start of the week. So either a Sunday or a Monday. Well, it's Thursday. Why not start on a Thursday?
Right. And people all the time are like, oh, I'm going to start Sunday because it's the beginning of the week. And then they're like, oh, well, then something pops up on Sunday. They're like, oh, I'm going to wait till next week. Cause you're right. I never thought about that. I've done that before.
I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Me
too. Part of this
Monday was always my fresh start. Monday, I was always going to start over.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I like realizing things about ourselves. We all are creatures of habit, though. We just got to make good habits.
It's so true. It's so true. Change is hard. It's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
No, that's awesome. So what have you noticed, like with clients and stuff? What is the biggest, do you have one of those tips that most people struggle with, or how have you been able to help people kind of with this like little process?
That's a really great question. I would say that I have found my clients struggle most with the processes, having the processes in place to achieve the goals and really implementing those in their lives. But I have found that once I encourage them to do that and to really sit down and think about how they're actually going to make this goal happen, they have seen results because of that. So I think that's where people might struggle most. And I think that's also why when you set new goals come the new year, when March, April, May rolls around, I think that's why a lot of people aren't even thinking about those goals anymore that they had set in January, because they let it sit like crockpot chili and they didn't work on it.
So everyone, I'm assuming, has their own kind of makeup. I mean, every client's going to be different. So, I mean, do you work on nutrition and sleep and working out, or is there's mostly just nutrition? And I'm sure, is there like a set, like, okay, 60% you should be working on nutrition, 20% in the gym? I'm sure it's different for everyone, but what's kind of how that works for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because my approach is very different. I do a non-diet approach with my coaching. And I also focus on intuitive eating. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before.
I have, but I don't know much about it. If you could please maybe do like an overview.
Yes. So basically, intuitive eating is a non-diet approach to health that helps you tune into your body's signals, so your hunger, fullness, and satisfaction cues, break the cycle of chronic dieting, and heal your relationship with food. And so we are all born intuitive eaters. Intuitive eating would be called just eating if there wasn't diet culture involved. So basically, as we grow up, rules and restrictions are set around food, and we lose our inner intuitive eater. We learn to finish everything on our plates. We learn that dessert is a reward, or bad sometimes. We are told that certain foods are good for us and others are bad, causing us to feel good about ourselves when we eat certain foods and guilty when we eat other foods. So basically, that's what I focus on. I don't focus on weight loss. That's the big thing.
Okay.
Because you can be healthy at every size. At every body size, you can be healthy. So what I really focus on in my approach is incorporating helpful behaviors into your lifestyle. So we touch on sleep, we touch on stress management, we touch on movement, exercise, whatever you like to call it. We touch on gentle nutrition and how to incorporate nutrition into your lifestyle, but it's more than just weight loss. And most times people's goals, it's not even really about the weight loss, it's about something deeper. So we really try and dig deep, figure that out. I do a lot of body image work as well, because that's huge, especially when we live in this culture today when when, you know, being thin is ideal. And that's the favored body type per se. So yeah.
That's so true. The thing about the intuitive eating, that's so, like, it makes so much sense, because when you're a baby, you cry when you're hungry. And then when you're full, you're full. Like, and yeah, I was taught you always have to finish what's on your plate. And sometimes you're full, but you still have to eat it. And then it just makes you feel like, then we were talking about wastefulness too, Robin. It's like, then you feel like you're wasting if you're not eating everything. And that's why, like, I've been trying to, like, I try not to portion myself stuff too big, because then it's like, I feel like I have to finish it. So it's like, I can get more if I'm still hungry, but it's like, it's just like, it's a subconscious thing, I think, because I was always taught to eat. So I think that there's definitely something there, because like some people don't need 3 meals a day, or some people need more than that. And it's like, it just depends on when you're hungry, I feel like.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. That's what I teach too in my sessions, as well as I teach how to use the hunger and fullness scale.
Okay.
And my clients learn how to even determine what hunger is, like what hunger feels like, and then also eating when they first feel that hunger cue, and then stopping when they're satisfied, not when they're stuffed and they feel sick,
Right.
but stopping when they feel satisfied. And then I always recommend eating I always recommend eating every 3 to 4 hours. And that prevents overeating, that prevents feeling like stuffed, because I find that a lot of times people don't eat their first meal until supper. And then they eat so much and they're sick. I know, I would die. I could not do that.
I would be
I eat all day.
Oh God.
But it's very interesting. It's very interesting, especially because we're influenced by so many different things. And, you know, we're taught to eat breakfast at a certain time, to eat lunch at noon, to eat dinner at a certain time. And it's hard to, you know, I catch myself on it time and time again where it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm hungry, like hungrier than just eating a snack, like hungry for a meal. And I'm like, but it's only 10 o'clock. And I'm like, but who cares? I can eat lunch at 10 o'clock if I want to.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Here's another question about intuitive eating. Is there a way, I don't even know, does your body, or do you have the ability to look for clues about what your body needs food-wise? Because I know sometimes, you know, people will crave red meat or something. Is like that your body telling you something that you need? And sometimes people will eat too much of a bad food and, you know, you just crave like spinach or something. Is that, like, besides those really extreme cases, like, how do you know what your body needs?
So I always say one of the principles of intuitive eating, there's 10 principles, by the way. One of them is give yourself permission to eat all foods. Give yourself permission, because a lot of times if we're restricting the bad foods, quote unquote, our body will crave those even more, right? When you're telling yourself you can't have something, well, you're only going to want it more because you can't have it. And so it's all about giving yourself permission to eat it. Yes, in the beginning, it might look like chaotic eating around said food because you haven't had it in a while. It hasn't been in your house in a while. It's very intriguing to you. It just sounds good. So you might overeat it right away, but you will get your fix, and it will come, you will come to the point where you don't even want to see that food anymore. Like you're so over it. You overindulge too much. And then yes, you will start to crave more nutritious foods per se. But a lot of people think that intuitive eating is all about just eating junk all the time, because it really is allowing yourself to eat any and all foods. But there also is that gentle nutrition side to it as well, because if you ate foods like that all the time, you're not going to feel good in the inside. I know for me, when I have like a weekend where I definitely overindulge and I'm eating like chicken strips and French fries and ice cream and things like that, I cannot wait to have a salad and incorporate those veggies back in. I need the fiber. I need the nutrients. I just need those foods. And so, yeah.
That's so, like, sometimes I crave salad. Actually, I crave salads all the time. I love vegetables. so much. Like my parents would be so proud of me now because I didn't want to eat it. But I crave them all the time, and people sometimes are weird about like you also have your friends that are bad influences. And I have pretty good influential friends, but there are people who are like, oh, you want a salad? It's like, yes, it sounds good to me to eat that. You know, it's like that makes me, and I feel good when I eat it. Yeah, I think that's also a problem with our culture too, is like sometimes people will peer pressure when you go out to eat sometimes is brutal. It's like, I actually love salads. Like I tell people all the time. I'm like, I enjoy these. They make me feel good. I feel great. So.
And you're not forcing yourself to eat it because you're trying to be healthy. Like you are actually eating it and choosing a salad because it's what sounds good and it's what will satisfy you, which is so important. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm not the type to be bullied by my friends.
Well, I know I don't let them bully me, but they'll try to. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's what I want to eat for dinner. Why aren't you saying anything about it?
Yeah, I do. I will stand up for whatever I want to eat.
Mm-hmm. There's no reason. Like, I don't know. I guess, no one should be telling you what you should and should not be eating, especially if it's healthy.
Yeah.
Shoulds and shouldn't.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to in 2021?
I am looking forward to continuing to grow my own business and to help more women ditch diets, throw away the scale, and really transform their health and body image, never diet again, and live a life that's more alignment with their values. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I love that. Tell us a little bit more about your business in case our listeners want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so I'm 100% virtual, all online. I'm mostly on Instagram right now. I do have a Facebook page that I share more exclusive trainings and more information per se. But yeah, I'm on Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. Check me out.
I'm going to do that right after you.
Yeah, I'd love it.
I did see you were on Insta yesterday. What were the results of the survey that you were asking your Insta followers?
Yes, I was actually going to share that on here as well. So 86% of my followers said yes to when March, April, May rolls around, they're not even thinking about the goals that they set in January. They have totally lost track and they don't remember what they were and they're not working towards them anymore. So I found that to be interesting.
That is interesting. And I believe the other question was how many people do New Year's resolutions?
I think it was, actually, you just followed me.
Boom. Done.
What was it? Oh, I asked, my first question was, do you find that you recycle the same goals every year?
That's what it was.
That was my first one. That one was 75%.
That is a good one because I think a lot of people do because they don't do it from the year before.
Yes.
I also think it's peer pressure too. What are your New Year's resolutions? And sometimes I don't have any, so I don't have any to share. And other times you do. I'm sure I too have recycled New Year's resolutions at some point, but not anymore.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that people just set them wrong and they don't really think about it. There's no meaning to them per se. So.
Yeah. I think it's super easy to just come up with a one liner where it's like, I want to lose 15 pounds. It's like, I want to do that too, but like, how are you actually going to get there? Or like you said, what are the habits you're going to create to get there? Because it's like, those lines can be so meaningless unless you put like a purpose behind them or like any effort behind them. Because I've done that before where it's like, I want to lose 15 pounds. And then, of course it never happens because I had no intention of doing anything to actually get there. It's like, I just said it because it sounds good.
Right. Like you didn't plan on maybe walking 10,000 steps a day or.
Yeah. It's like, that's a better goal.
Yes, absolutely. Because we definitely don't have full control over our weight loss. And, so many things go into that.
Well, also, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's like also like weight loss is so interesting in that like your body does fluctuate naturally too. It's like you can like losing 15 pounds. Some people get really upset because like A, there's water weight that happens. And then B, it's like you can lose 5 pounds, then gain 2 back, then lose 4 more. And then it's like sometimes it is when you're, and especially when you're learning new things about nutrition and I guess now setting new goals, it will happen like that, I think, at first. So that's how mine was. It kind of like at first when I started losing weight, it would kind of, you lose a pound here, then gain, and then you lose 2 and then gain 1, it just kind of like fluctuate. And then I learned a lot of my weight was like water weight. Like you realize that like a lot of it can be water weight.
Well, and I always say too, like for me, I fluctuate 4 to 5 pounds a day because when we wake up, our bodies are dehydrated. So by the time you reweigh yourself in the afternoon or in the evening before you're going to bed, you have a full day's worth of food in your stomach, a full day's worth of water. Like, of course, you're going to weigh more.
Water is so heavy. You always forget that until you fill like a bucket up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much water.
And our bodies are made of so much of water as well.
It's going to be very important now because I'm terrible at drink. I've gotten better about making sure, because for the longest time, like, why does at least I didn't grow up knowing that to lose water weight, you have to drink more water. Like no one told me that. And so I just was constantly dehydrated. It's like now I drink so much water and I've lost so much water weight because I'm just staying hydrated. But now in the wintertime, I think a lot of people will have to remember that because it's like you're dehydrated all the time in the winter because it's so dry.
Yeah. Ashley and I remind each other all the time to drink water.
That's good. That's good. I am a dietitian, but I used to be a terrible water drinker. And my family has kidney stones, a lot of kidney stones run in my family. And so last January, I had my first kidney stone and I was like, okay, I need to drink my water. So now I drink like a gallon a day because I don't want that. And now since I have it with me at all times, I like crave it. I want it.
Yeah.
I feel good. So
has that helped the kidney stones too?
Oh yes. That's like the number one thing for prevention is drinking water. My mom would be proud if she listens to this.
No, that's helpful because kidney stones run in my dad's side of the family too. I haven't had an issue with it, but I'm going to start. That's like a better thing for just another thing to add to why I should be drinking more water.
Yes, because they are terrible. Let me tell you, you don't want one.
Yeah. Oh goodness. I don't envy anyone. I think I've heard it's one of the most painful experiences. I mean, just my dad being, like not leaving his bed. It's so painful. I just remember that as a kid. So, oh goodness. Yeah. You're so strong to have gone through that.
It was horrible.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. Really opening, Ashley and I are quite open-minded, but you really gave us quite a bit to think about on just a different approach to goals and goal settings. And I think we had the reasons down correctly. And I think our path is right, but you gave us a lot to think about.
Yeah, this was very just informational.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I hope our listeners enjoyed as well.
Oh, they 100% will. I know it's honestly perfect timing because like you said, it's more than just nutrition. It's goal setting in general. Like, I feel like that the tips that you gave me will help me in other areas of my life, which is like so exciting.
That's so exciting. And remember, you can start tomorrow too.
I know. Yeah, that's perfect. So all of our listeners, make sure you follow her on Instagram. And
yes, my Instagram handle is brennaoberg.rd.
Well, thank you, Brenna. It was great to have you on.
Thank you so much.
Dawn, welcome back. You were our episode number 13 contestant.
Lucky 13, and hugs to you all because Jonathan went into lockdown on March 13th, and I thought for sure we're going to come out of lockdown on November 13th, and that didn't happen.
Nope. Yeah, it's not looking like December 13th either.
Nope.
Goodness.
What has been going on with you since we interviewed you?
Oh, well, I think everybody can relate to the COVID-15. Everybody has the college 15. It's the COVID-15. I have a friend who says it's the COVID-9. I have to disagree with him on that one. Been socially distancing and have our little bubble, some fires over the weekends in the backyard, working from home, which the commute is horrible. I mean, I roll out of bed and have a 2-dog pile up at the top of the stairs. So one of those things where, you just never know what you're going to get every day. So
with us being in quarantine, how have you worked your Noom success?
Well, I will say that it's been a challenge because comfort food is one of those things. And I think ordering online groceries online can be a little bit dangerous at times. I started throwing Cheez-Its are a weakness. I've been putting boxes of Cheez-Its in the shopping cart. And I finally stopped doing that kind of thing, and potato chips and that kind of stuff. However, I'm sure somebody's going to complain in the household that we don't have any chips in the house very soon. You just find yourself, there's so much time on your hands that what do you do with that time? I love to cook, so that's also my weakness, because I cook a lot of good foods. So it's been a challenge, I will say that, but I have increased my activity. My goal of 150 minutes a week is actually almost 400 minutes a week of activity. So
wow.
I'm sitting on my hind end all day long. The dogs get 2 to 3 walks a day. I've just recently reincorporated weights back into my routine, along with yoga. Yoga is something I need personally for my own mental health, which is a big focus for next year for me. And Robin, I know that you can attest. I've been on the ledge so many times since we worked together, and you just pull me back off of, it's okay, you can go places, you can do some of these things. And I know I can't wait to be able to go on vacation. That's always been one of my things. I mean, I take 3-week vacations according to some, but they're really only 2 weeks.
You mentioned New Year's and looking forward to next year. What are some of your New Year's resolutions?
My main one is my mental wellness. I know that I need to mentally take time for myself every single day. I don't do it all the time because I'm putting everybody else's needs first, whether it's work, the dogs, even my husband. As you can see, tonight might not be such a good night based upon his project not going as planned, but I sometimes just need that space. I need the brainless television to really focus back in on what's important. Also, just even if it's me in the bathtub for 10 to 15 minutes, I think that's a really important thing to do. I ordered a bunch of things from Zulily for spa nights. So,
love that.
Sock stuff and masks and that kind of thing. There's a she mask night. So I told my husband that we were going to be having a spa night at home here very soon. Just so that we can both keep our mental capacity in check, especially with the holidays. I mean, right now we're trying to get everything so in place because we have to ship gifts. We're not getting together for things, or we're dropping off at doorsteps. So next year is really going to focus on mental well-being, meditation, yoga for me. Right now, I'm just slowly reintroducing yoga back in because it's a different mindset. Short 20 to 30 minute sessions, and then maybe, eventually getting into the hour sessions and going from there.
Yoga is no joke.
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan.
I
like it. Thank you for taking time and updating all of our listeners on your progress and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, thank you, Dawn, for coming back.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
You too. Bye.
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 Vanessa.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. Is your shirt sparkly?
Could be. I got all excited for this because this. I before this, I'm like, why am I doing that? It's just, I was excited to see you guys again. I don't know much about these days.
We are talking to Vanessa Simonette, who was on episode 10 about writing a book. Welcome back. We are super excited to hear about what you've been doing since the episode and what your New Year's resolution is going into 2021.
Okay, well, I think I was thinking about the last time I talked to you, and I think it was like past the Tiger King era of the pandemic, a little bit past.
We were just talking about this.
Right? So it's just like, I was still like hopeful about a lot of stuff I was going to get done. And I do have, I would say probably I have worked on my second book, but I just I didn't get as much done as I had wanted, as I thought all this time was ahead of me and I could get it done. And I have realized through this that I am someone that needs to work within like regulations. I need to kind of have guidelines set out. And so how does the saying go? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's kind of what I decided, like, to finish this book, even though in my mind it's practically done. I just got to put down a few more things. Just having that idea was kind of hard for me to complete. So probably in the last 2 weeks, I kind of figured out and really mapped out, what do I need to do to finish it? And what do I need to do then to start the next project I'm working on? So this book that I'm just kind of, circling the drain as far as like finishing it, I finally calculated like, okay, it's going to be about 50 hours worth of writing. And that's how I have to do it like that.
Well, that's what great.
Yeah.
Neat. And so that's what you're going to be doing, I guess, going into 2021 then, huh?
Right. Yep. And just have more of a, for me, it was like, last year when I did the book, it was like such a accomplishment. I just wanted to keep doing it. Like I feel better when I create. So I guess I just kind of thought that I could continue on this, I don't know, like this just good feeling, like I'm just going to keep doing it. And I really need to, like, in order to accomplish goals like that, for me, I have to make sure that I lay them out. Like I can't just say, oh, 2021, I'm going to finish that second book and then I'm going to start on my third and just leave it vague. I can't do that. So for my guidelines or for my New Year's resolutions, it's going to be, okay, this is how many hours per week I can do it. And that way, then it's easier for me to do it that way.
That is great.
What is the ultimate goal? What day, month, week?
Well, if I look at it like, okay, 50 hours, and then the rest of it is just kind of like post-production when I give it to my editor, AKA a couple friends that agree to read it and give me some, like for me, I would, when I always think of like first quarter. So that's what I want to do. I want to have it done and ready to publish by late spring. So
that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And will COVID impact that? Is it Marnie and her husband that are going to do the editing for you?
Hope so. But yeah, I think so. Yeah. So a lot of it is just kind of, it shouldn't, I don't think it should, and for me too, it's like, I have more time than ever. I don't know why it's a struggle for me to manage time sometimes. So that's what I thought for resolution. When you guys brought it up, I was like, oh, I probably should have, and then I thought about it, I'm like, well, this is how it's, kind of relating to it. But yeah, I do much better if I have some sort of definitive guidelines.
It is funny how that we do all have a lot more time, because I noticed that, I don't know if you had the same issue, Robin, but when quarantine started, there was a period where I wasn't getting a lot done, and it was because there was just so much time. And so when I did start to like chunk my day into like certain parts, I'm like, okay, this is the time that I'm going to read, like in the morning, and then this is what I'm going to do this. Then things started to happen. But you're right. It's like when you're almost given, it's like when you give a kid too much freedom and it's like, they just run amok. It's like, I also had to do that. Robin, did you have similar or no?
I did not. No, I think I am busier than ever.
You're good with time management though, right?
I feel like I am. Yeah. I feel
like you, Vanessa.
I know what I'm going to do in the morning, and I've got a backup plan for the morning. So if I don't get up at the time I want to, I still know what my backup plan is to still get everything done throughout the day. And 75 Hard honestly helped me time manage better than I was time managing before, I felt like. So no, I feel like I'm more busy than ever. And a lot of people say, oh, you've got, why don't you come over and like in the summer, come over and socially distance and have a couple of cocktails. And it's like, I don't know why you guys have time. I am busier than ever. I am booked. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm doing additional learning online while the quarantine is going on. Vanessa, our mutual friend Pam and I have a little thing that every week we try to do a garbage bag full, either goes to Goodwill or St. Vincent's or a thrift shop, and then the rest of it gets thrown out. So we're always organizing. My days are full, truly, from the time I get up until the time I go to bed. I have a plan. I don't always stick to it, but I always have a backup to get everything done.
See, that's great. I feel like, and you are like the good version of what happens in a pandemic. I am like, this is what happens when your time runs amok, as you said, Ashley. It's like, so yeah. So I mean, that's great, but it does remind me of like when my life is, when I feel like really super busy, I seem to get a lot more done, you know. And then when it's not that busy, when I don't have all this other stuff competing for my attention, you know, that's where I think the resolutions and the guidelines will definitely come into help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's good that you recognize that in yourself. I think a lot of people don't ever notice that. And then it just never gets done. So it's like, good for you.
Thanks.
I'm interested in book 3.
So, right. So the next one is going to be more based on, you know, it's going to be more of a fictional route, but it's based on people I know, characters, stories, all of that. And I'll tell you a little bit more when it gets a little bit more solidified. Yeah.
Yay!
Good. It's good.
That's awesome.
I had a couple of my friends that started following you. Like we were talking in a group chat, and like Stephanie, she goes, they've really got some good episodes. I've started watching them. So that's good. I'm glad you guys are like having success on your show too.
Yes. Shout out to Stephanie Volkman.
I could be so excited.
Who is that?
She's a girl we went to high school with.
Oh, cute.
She's a Spitfire, just like the rest of our little crew.
We have, like, that's the thing is we have had a lot of really good guests on here. Like it's been really cool. You've pretty much nailed a lot of them, Robin. Like you've reached out to a ton of them. So.
Right, absolutely. I know. Sometimes it's sharing stories. It's just putting it out there. And there's always people that, you know, who would have thought, like, you know, there's so many niches out there, right? And that in areas that people are like, yes, that's exactly. I mean, for so long, I think I pushed off writing anything or really committing to a story, because when I think of writers and authors, I think they have this great prose, this great way of describing things. I'm like, those are like real authors. Those are like serious, really good ones. I can't write like that. But it's not true. There's always someone that wants to hear your story.
Yeah. I think that's awesome to hear. Yeah. Cause I mean, so many people will just stop right there and never actually go after the things that they want. Cause it's so intimidating because you just think you're like small fish in a big pond. And it's like, no, someone's going to find you. There are billions of people. No, how many people are billions of people on this planet? Like if only 0.1% of them liked your stuff, like
I know.
Reddit, like even if you had 0.001% of the people on the planet liked it, like
right,
it's a huge amount of people.
I
think that should be your theme for 2021, Vanessa.
What's
Somebody
that?
wants to hear your story.
Yeah.
All right. Going to. All right, good. Yeah, I will. That will be
cute.
I like it. Anything else you want our listeners to know about you and your resolutions for 2021?
Well, okay, so one thing I did is I kind of changed up my space of where I'm going to write, you know, to kind of like motivate myself, inspire myself. So I don't think you can see this, but I got a it's this.
Is it leopard?
Yeah, an animal print chase lounge.
I love leopard.
I know, right? And these like line prints and then like a lamp. And so I'm kind of redoing my bedroom, and this was like this furniture I got. And so this is where I write. So I don't know what it is, if it's just like away from the kids, away from the dogs, if it's comfortable. It's kind of a whole mood I'm creating in here. At the boom boom room, and the kids are like mortified and they're ready to move out. But anyways, whatever. But anyway,
I like it.
So sometimes I think what I found out, if what I'm doing isn't working, then I got to kind of change shit up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah. Oh, that chaise lounge is going to be all the difference. I love it. We've been, so many of these things have been tying together, Robin, and we didn't even know it.
They have been. And Ashley is big into line art. And in fact, she has a website out there of her art. So that's amazing.
I'll send you some, Vanessa.
Please do. I love that. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's very similar to what you have in there.
I would love to see it. Yeah, send me the link. That would be great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining us. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
You too, and I love your hair.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
One of our past guests is Tyler Borst from Military Life, episode 20. Welcome, Tyler.
Welcome, Tyler. Welcome back, Tyler.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Thrilled to have you.
Yeah.
So going into 21, why don't you give us an update on what you've done since your past interview and where you're going into 2021?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that's happened is this little thing right here. So I've been working on that for about 2 weeks. I know it's nothing to really brag about, but it's something. But
Nice.
it's just I'm trying to forget about this year. I'm not like you guys being so positive about this year, but I don't know. It's something to look back and reflect on, that's for sure.
Exactly.
What I can do better. But
And what would you do better?
oh gosh. Probably a lot of things actually. Not done a lot of the things that I did, like volunteer for that deployment. If I would have known that would have been so bad. Would have tried to like cast myself out to meet more people than I did, because I feel like I just kind of stayed in my shell since everything happened. And once COVID hit, everybody was like on their own, and I just kind of joined them, and I just didn't really do anything. So stuck to a simple routine.
I think that's a major reflection to say, hey, I really should have stepped out of my comfort zone maybe once or twice. Or I know that you go to the gym quite often because I do get your snaps, and maybe you could have reached out to a couple of guys at the gym or done something. But I think that's a fantastic self-reflection.
For sure. It's something that I've been thinking about quite a lot. It is December 6th. Yeah, December 6th now. So it's, getting towards the end. So kind of just like it all hit me at once. I was like, probably should have done a lot more different things than I did. So that's one of the biggest things I'm taking into 2021.
I think a lot of people have struggled with that this year because of all the isolation, because even if you wanted to, there's only so much you can do. And I know where you're at. It's in lockdown, just like a lot of us are. And even if you were able to reach out to people at the gym, there are all sorts of rules into place, and everyone's had to get much more creative with how they've kept up with people. And I know it's a struggle for everyone, but yeah, good reflection. I think we're all kind of learning about that too.
Yeah, for sure. You see it a lot on base too. Like everybody's just like in their own kind of mindset, which is good because like they're building themselves up, but at the same time it's like you stuck on base, you can't really do anything. So
have you noticed just a general shift in just the whole morale of everyone? Like, have you noticed a noticeable shift?
Yeah, so since the lockdown started last month, it was a very hard adjustment, not only for me, but for I'd say 99% of this base. And it's something that people haven't really gone through. So they just kind of, they don't know what to do. They're like shocked, and they don't want to go to the gym anymore because they just don't have the motivation. And they're like, well, I can't really do anything because I'm stuck here. So it just kind of, it shocked everybody. And everybody just seems, I don't want to say depressed because that's kind of a harsh word. They're just, they lack motivation. You can see how stressed they are from everything that's going on and carrying out their jobs day to day with the different schedules that everybody is on. So it takes a toll on everybody for sure. But slowly but surely we're getting back.
Yeah.
And how are you going to change that going into 2021? What are you looking forward to? What are your resolutions?
So something that I'm looking forward to is since the lockdown, I usually go off base to go to the gym, but I can't anymore. So I have to go on base. And there's a whole bunch of people on there. So I started looking into, home workouts and stuff like that to, keep my motivation up. And then school is another big one. I'm going to try to get as much school as I can done. But other than that,
I'm going to tell you that is the best thing you can do.
Exactly.
Get education.
Especially now, like everything's online. So it's like you don't even have to go anywhere to go to school. You open up your laptop, open up your tablet, whatever you have, and all right there. You literally roll out of bed and you're already educating yourself. You're bettering yourself already. So they've been talking about extending the lockdown into January. So it's gonna suck going into 2021, with the same rules as they have now. But I'm preparing myself for the worst, It's just seeing what I can do and just get my education done and stay motivated and do home workouts.
It's a great time to do it.
I will say that there's a group of us, and Ashley, I don't think I emailed this to you. We are doing a virtual workout Monday nights at 5:30, and a bunch of us want to continue to do that. I can send you the information, Tyler. If it works for you, it works for you. But it's about an hour long session of just different workouts, and it's arms, legs, core. It's really a well-rounded routine. And that's one of my New Year's resolutions is really focus on the easy things. And if it's 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. I'll send it to you, Tyler.
Yeah, it's part of, I guess, the New Year's resolution. So many people go really hard and they set these crazy goals for themselves, and then they never meet them because they go and they set something that's unattainable because and I can't be mad at that. I've done that before, but like you said, you could say, hey, I'm going to do an hour workout every day. But if you can't do 15 minutes of a workout every day, you won't be able to do the hour. So it's good to do little increments because then it motivates you even more. So love that.
I know this is going to be a shock to you guys, but I'm coming back to the States. So
Yay!
I know your mom's happy. I know Robin's happy.
I know. A part of me, for my picks, I wanted to go to Grand Forks just because it's close to home, and I only have, by the time I leave Germany, I only have a year and some change left on my contract before I get out. So it'll set me up nice to be close to home and set up back at where I originally was. But part of me wants to venture out and go to like one of the coasts or like even Colorado. So the Carolinas, Arizona, California, even Washington, because I know my buddies out there right now, or home. That's really all I really want. But being home is definitely my top pick for sure.
Matt and I would really like you to get Alaska because we want to come visit you in Alaska.
Yeah. Well, one of my bases was actually, because Alaska is considered overseas. So one of the bases that I had was actually in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, but it's still a nice base. Kind of unfortunate that I didn't get it, but can't really be mad. I've already lived in Germany for what's going to be 2.5 years. So
yeah. Oh,
any other New Year's resolutions?
So one of the big ones is I want to get, because I'm all about fitness. I love, picking heavy things up and putting them back down. So I want to reach 200 pounds. And then I want to be able to, like cut all that off and actually, like be happy with myself. So
yeah.
Main goal is getting to 200 pounds right now. And then the 1,000 pound club, which is it's 3 different exercises. It's bench press, deadlift, and squat. Throughout those 3, it equals 1,000 pounds.
Ooh.
And you get your name on something in the gym. So It's
If you have to
kinda
do
one of the big ones.
1,000 over 3, that means at least 300 pounds for each. Oh, goodness. That's awesome. I can't wait till you reach it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Another big one is education. Getting my associate's degree. Well, either my associate's or master's in, or not master's, bachelor's in mechanical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So I enrolled into a school for general studies for my associates, but I was like, I'm just doing it so I can get basic knowledge back. But education and my physique, I guess, is my main goals.
I
Great.
love those goals. Those are fantastic. We
Thank you.
support you 1,000,000%.
Yes.
Trust me, I feel it from here.
Yeah.
Feel it.
When I heard education, I was over the moon, thrilled. It's something my grandparents would tell me, that it's something that nobody can ever take away from you.
Mhm.
And it's come in handy so many times in my life, being as educated and well-rounded, different studies, different classes, meeting different people. Even though it's virtual, I'm sure you're going to meet so many different people. And I still have friends from graduate school. I still have friends from undergrad, and I still talk to one person from my PMP class. So I love that goal.
One more thing, it's another, like exercise related type thing, but I've never been a runner, even though I played soccer. I ran my first 10K when I was deployed, and I'm actually
Nice.
wearing that shirt right now. I don't really know if you
Very
can.
cool. I was wondering, it looked like a different logo.
Yeah, but I want to be able to run like a half marathon, and I haven't set a time limit yet. I still got a couple weeks to decide.
Have you run one at all yet? That can be your first goal, is just running one in general.
Yep.
No need to put a time on it yet.
That's all I got.
Yeah. You got to set a base time for you first.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, half marathons are a doozy. I did my first one this past year, and it's brutal. Like, I had never run that long in my life. And it is funny though, because after like mile 8 for me, I just lost all feeling in my legs and could not feel them. And then I got like that second wind, and then I got home. My legs were starting to get feeling back. I looked down and they are bleeding all over. My feet are bleeding. And I'm like, I had no idea. The blisters on my legs, you would have never known, because when you're in that mindset, after you hit a certain amount of time, your body kind of just goes on autopilot, which is kind of cool. It kind of shows you the complexities of just what our brain can do. So yeah, I think it'll be really cool. I'm interested to see, how you do it.
Thank you, Tyler. We definitely appreciate your time, and thank you for sharing your New Year's resolutions. And I'll be following you every step of the way, my dear.
Always, I know.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
Good one, Tyler.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Shelby.
Hey, Shelby.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. It's been a crazy year. I'm glad to still be able to catch up.
I know. At least we're all professionals at Zoom and virtual calling now.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's one great thing we've learned about this.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my goodness.
It's a skill we all learned quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Shelby Grace was episode 11, and she is here with us to give us a look back on what she's been doing since her interview, and then a look forward to her New Year's resolutions for 2021.
Yes. So, this whole year has been a little crazy, but despite that, I was able to start college, and that's been so fun. People keep asking me how's it going? I'm like, y'all don't even know, because for me, high school wasn't the best time of, it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so going to college was just the best change that I think that I was able to make this year. So I'm really happy that I was able to do that, because I was thinking about taking a little year, see how COVID goes, but I'm glad I didn't, because I made some awesome friends, and I have been in lots of songwriting classes and music classes, which is awesome. And all of my professors have been helping me and like one-on-one with helping me like rewrite my songs and get better at songwriting basically. And it's pushed me a lot more to just like be more intentional with every single word.
Mhm.
So that's awesome.
Yay.
And like since I'm going to Trevecca in Nashville, obviously who is going to be in a music school in Nashville and not think about going to Belmont. So obviously that was a little struggle trying to decide which school, but ultimately I think I'm glad that I went to Trevecca, because a lot of people that I've talked to have told me that since Belmont is a bigger school, it's harder to get one-on-one help with songwriting and just in general. And so I'm glad that I'm here. So yeah. And as far as looking forward, we don't know what's gonna happen, but but for
Amen.
like career wise, I think I'm just gonna keep writing more. I think we have plans to get another song out, so that'll be fun.
You're thinking of dropping a new song this year or 2021?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be in 2021. Yeah,
Is it written already?
Yes, and I've been
Ooh.
writing a lot more like fun songs, like Can't
Yeah.
Imagine. Oh my gosh, another thing that I forgot about. Okay, so my college does these PR bands that basically tour and perform around the East area. And so I am hopefully going to be a part of that and be singing and stuff. I had an interview recently and they were like, oh yeah, like totally, we want you in this. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. So that'll be a lot of fun, a lot of performing experience. Just a lot of fun things. Yeah, I mean, it's not as much as like I would hope for. like writing a whole album and like that kind of thing, but COVID is is doing what it wants.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think those are great though. I mean, all of the things that you just said are just amazing steps. I mean, you just started college. That's amazing. Like getting plugged in during COVID cannot be easy.
oh no,
I was talking to a friend the other day about how starting college during this must be so hard. So the fact that you've been able to get in contact with all these people and have all these great relationships being built is a big deal. So like, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you.
thank you. Yeah, especially with the whole mask situation in
Mhm.
college, it's really hard to meet people. So I'm glad that I got like plugged in with a good group of friends really
Mhm.
early on.
Mhm.
Because I mean, it's really hard to meet people. So any
Mhm.
way that I'm meeting
In
people
general.
through my classes or from my other friends. So yeah.
Yeah.
Have you wrote any original songs since we last interviewed you?
Oh yeah, I have written a lot more. One of my songwriting classes, since with COVID, so I'm like backtracking a little bit. The whole COVID situation, they're trying to limit people in each class, so they have it by 7. They split a semester up into 2, so they have like 7 weeks is one course, and then the next 7 weeks is another course. So I had to go through all of my courses in 7 weeks versus the 13, 14 weeks. So with my songwriting class, originally I would have to do 10 songs, but I was only required to do 5. But I still got those, and those have been a lot of fun. We had a songwriters night, so that was fun, and I performed like a little original worship kind of song. So yeah, I'm hoping to like write a lot of more like fun and also some worship songs.
That's
Do you
great.
think the 5 that you did, any hits coming out of those 5?
Okay, I don't know about hits. I mean, I haven't like had like a hit. I mean, all of my songs are less than 20,000 streams, which is fun, but I'm just starting.
Yeah,
But one of them I really like, and it's a lot of fun. It's a groovy one, I think.
Does it have a name or is it a secret? You don't
I'll
have to
tell
us.
you that it's kind of about the whole situation that happened in April with the whole like discrimination movement. It's about kind of like how our world has run from love in a sense that we're not focusing on the right way to handle our world.
Cool. That's awesome.
I definitely
Yeah.
want to hear that.
Yeah, Robin's excited.
Mhm.
Robin's a lot of those streams. I mean, you might be on Spotify or whatever more than I am.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you posted something the other day, Shelby, on your Instagram, I think, showing how many streams. But do you have a certain stream number you want to get to in 2021?
I don't really know. I'm just like posting
Mhm.
like songs and hoping for the best. I'm not really like here for money or for streams, so it's just whatever happens. I mean, more than what I had before would be a lot better.
Right.
But yeah, on that thing, it's on the Spotify Wrapped. Yeah, I showed like how many countries and how many people, and it said 62 countries, and I was like,
wow,
that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, your reach is already so big.
Yeah. I'm like, I only know people in one country. Like, what in the world? Like, how can, okay.
I always wonder how people find that.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. And anytime that I like talk to people in a different state or just like that aren't near me, and they'll be like, what's new or whatever, and they're like, oh, I talk to people about your music, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's how, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. Thanks, I guess.
Yeah, word of mouth is so powerful. You never know. I mean, what is it, the 5 separations or something? Everyone knows someone. What is it called?
Isn't it 6?
6 separate.
Yeah, like the Kevin Bacon 6.
The Kevin Bacon 6. Ooh, I want to know how I am related, or not related, how I know Kevin Bacon. Yeah, it's like someone knows someone. So.
Yeah, within 6 degrees or 6 people.
6 degrees of separation. That's what it's called.
What it is. Yeah. Crazy.
So cool.
Any other specific New Year's resolution, Shelby?
I guess for the new year, just kind of working hard and staying focused, because I know with just the whole world, it's hard to like focus on like the election or being economically, like just looking at everything, you know what I mean? And it's just hard to stay focused sometimes. And so I think I'm just going to try and stay focused on like music and that kind of thing and writing. So yeah, just being like, what's the word? Focused other than focused. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking time out today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, Shelby.
Thank you guys.
Bye, Shelby. All of our listeners, stay awesome.
And keep reaching for your anything.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.